And 3, 2, 1. Boom. And we're back with another episode of Crack Gamers. This episode brought to you by Zen Real Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and your accessories at zenrealclothingco.com and make sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. But what's the but, Vish? I've said this so many times. Do you know it yet?
No.
But if you're not into spending money, just check out the Zen Real Radio, zenrealclothingco.com. Bunch of playlists out there. Okay, so if you're listening to this, then the algorithms worked. Thank you, algorithm gods, for optimizing search engine, because that's the world we're living in. Social Dilemma. So we checked out the documentary Social Dilemma, and what are your primary impressions, Vish?
I felt like maybe because I'm in, like, I look up a lot of tech news and stuff.
Oh, Social Dilemma on Netflix. Side note.
Yeah. That I knew a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I felt that too. Yeah, totally. I agree.
I did. A funny thing after watching it, I did go to Twitter.
Okay, yeah.
And just to see what, like, people were talking about it, like it was in the trending.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
People didn't know that this is like how it works.
Yeah.
I really felt like what I've been reading or hearing, reading about on Twitter was like they didn't know that this is how.
Okay. So this is the mind blow. I totally agree with you on this one, but I think it's like pockets of knowledge. So like everyone knows something about something, right? We're all experts about something, and I think because you and I are in this feedback loop of always being in technology. Like, for example, so we went on this walk just now, and Athena, this lady was like, "Oh, your dog's so cute. Did you know that there are fake dogs now?" And like Tara was like, "Oh, like there are fake dogs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I heard about this. Remember you showed me before at the CES, the robot dogs from Japan that like react to you." So she was like talking about that, and Tara was like, "What? This is real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's robot dogs are coming."
Yeah, but that's way
in the future. No, totally. But I'm saying like the fact that we have this niche pocket of understanding of like tech consumables. Mm-hmm. So like for example, like, or to link it back, this documentary, everything we saw, we're like, yeah, this is how it worked. We knew this. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why we're strategic in the way we like things or search for things or, you know, curate our content in a specific way. Yeah. But go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah, but like I like what they were saying. Even so like going to the end or like what to do, like how to either get off of social media or follow other people that don't agree with you. That was what I was already doing.
Totally.
This is probably why I understood how this stuff works, because it's like I know like it could be an echo. Like we talked about this before of an echo chamber. Just if you just follow one thing, you're just gonna keep reiterating that and keep hearing that. So if you hate the government, you're gonna keep hearing that.
Totally.
Like you're just following those types of people. That's all you're gonna hear. But if I follow Trump, I follow Bernie Sanders. I'm getting the message from both sides here.
Right. Totally. So I agree. And also with that, those like echo chambers, they brought that up in the documentary where like the kid was starting to watch a lot of like anti-government stuff, and then he went to the protest, and that's where he got like arrested.
Yeah.
And like that is also how Flat Earth started. Like I was watching the Joe Rogan thing, and like they were saying it started as like a troll to see like on Reddit, can we make people believe in Flat Earth? And then it exploded. And then everyone's believing in Flat Earth.
Right.
And then
well, not everyone, but there's a significant, what seems to be a significant proportion.
And totally. And there was also, they were showing the NBA player. Remember, he's like, oh, sorry, he apologized for believing in Flat Earth. You know, he's like, yeah, you just go down these YouTube rabbit holes. And then people were like, oh yeah, the round earthers got to him. It's like,
but see, that's the thing.
Echo chambers, bro.
Yeah, if you just follow in one pathway, you just keep Flat Earth. You see another Flat Earth. You see another. No, but like, why don't you search? Like, what I was doing was I looked into that, and I was like, okay, what are the other sides saying?
Totally.
Like,
I agree.
You search, like if you already not believe in one direction.
Wait, hold on, give me 1 second. You probably heard a click on there. Sorry, I was just checking to make sure that my mic wasn't. It's not. I thought it was like multi-directional, so it's capturing you. But no, it's one directional. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Like again, comes back to me. Like I would see the other side of perspective as well. It's like, okay, what is the rounder saying? I was like, oh, there's way too much evidence for it to be. It has to be round. There's no way that this makes sense.
Totally.
There's there's certain things that I like, very simple things that if you understood it, like you get it. Oh, it's round. It's not.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. So like, also going with that, you know, like the conspiracy about like the Rothschilds, how like they're this giant conglomerate that's like ruling everything. And then I was listening to this like podcast. So like I was like, oh, big money corporations evil, right? But then like in this other podcast they were talking about the good of the Rothschilds, how they funded medical innovation, you know, and like they're the ones who like helped to get vaccines out to the world. And it's like, oh, so they can't be all bad. It's like, and then it's like, yeah, you just need that happy medium, you know. It's like, okay, but that's a function of society. Yes, they made lots of money, but like money propagates money, but what did you do with your stuff? Like, well, you helped fund all these things, you know.
That's what I look at too. But then there, like, I remember, like, Patriot Act, the show that's on Netflix.
Totally.
Like when they were talking about Purdue and like what they did with their money and making museums and stuff for people. Like, I didn't think that was a bad idea.
Yeah, no.
So it's like,
it's good and bad.
Yeah,
you know. But I think you know what it is. I think this is gonna be so controversial, and I might even turn this into a slice. But I really think what it is people in the lower socioeconomic ring, they feel powerless to the people in the upper ring, and the people in the upper ring have the most decision-making power. Even though people say like, oh, you know, you vote with your dollars, and like you have these like pockets of these like anti-conformist, anti-government groups, right? That are like, oh, we're gonna live off the grid or whatever. But it's like, but just you need to accept the fact that this is where you are on the totem pole. You know what I mean? Like even bringing it back to like caste systems in India. You think that the untouchables didn't feel bad that they were untouchables, but it's like, but that's where you are in life. Like, you just got to accept it. You're born into this video game, and you just got to play with the rules that you're given. You know. But I think people don't like hearing that, and that's why documentaries like this, like when they're like, oh, you're just a product to them now. It's like, yeah, of course you're just a product, bro. They're marketing to you. They're trying to sell a thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But like, it's not negative.
I mean, like, I remember always growing up, I remember what they said in there too. It's like, I think my parents told me, is like, nothing's free in this world. Like, if there's free, there's something to it
attached to it. Yeah.
And that's like the most simplest understanding that of anything that, okay, they're making money from me somehow. Like, you should like easily understand that.
But that's how the world works. And I think the naivety of like I remember like a number of years ago now, at least 4, but like, you know, when I was doing the whole like Persistence Academy thing, and we were like trying to like change the world with like martial arts and yoga, but then like leaving that, like, that was an echo chamber, right? And then like you believe that like your world is the entire world, but then you step out of your zone, like getting like jobs. I was like, oh, nobody cares that we did martial arts and yoga. You know what I mean? But it's those echo chambers, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, it's like, really, at the end of the day, you are a product. Everyone. Yeah. Oh, the thing about the free thing was funny, because I remember somebody said that in the class once, like, nothing's free. We had this huge debate about like, is anything free? Is like an economics class, and they're like, oh, is this free? That's not free. Like, what is free in this world? And then the prof was saying nothing's free, and then everyone's trying to argue like, well, air's free, and he's like, you get taxed. So like, the fact that you're living on this land, you're breathing this air, we're gonna take your money. Taxes are what make,
right,
you know. But yeah, I was like, but that's how the function of society always works. Like, how can you have a big society without different classes?
Like, when we say free healthcare in Canada, it's not free. We're paying through taxes.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But in overall, we would end up spending less versus us doing it like an American style, because
true.
When we're all putting
money in the pocket,
putting money into the pocket, it's like you've gotten more money than you need.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You can distribute to whoever needs it.
Totally. I think that's one of the biggest revelations of like spirituality, that I think like they always say like this, like, to be enlightened, you know, is like you want to be this enlightened person, but I think the real enlightenment is realizing your place in the pecking order. You know, there is social mobility. Like, you can move throughout the, you know, work hard, you know, like get these professional degrees, and then you can get more money. But like, who's going to do that? You know, that's like, there's a cost to everything. You know, Yeah. Even like coming from a different country, like you and I are both first generation. So it's like up to us to start establishing roots in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like, but with that, it's like, so our parents were the lowest in the pecking order because you just came. So it's like, you have no idea. I mean, like, you might have a job that's really good, but it's like, do you know how this society works yet? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're still new to it, right? Whereas other people, like old money, they say they've been here for, generations, generational wealth.
And they know how the system works.
Yeah, right? And like, how do you like, okay, well, if I put my money here, I can leverage it for this and I don't have to pay for this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, those are the rules of the game that our parents didn't know because they just came.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of good points in there. I think in that movie, I think what I felt that was there, like with the they didn't really talk about cyberbullying, but that's like
Oh yeah, they did. Well, they did like 1 second when
Did
the
they?
person. No, not really, but like remember they're like, oh, you have big ears, and then she started feeling bad, and then she started crying in the bathroom.
Yeah. So like I've heard of the increase in cyberbullying, but that's done through the social media stuff, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
like they were showing it, which was how it's affecting young teens or like young girls, right?
Yeah.
So that was something I think people may not have known that. And I don't think I didn't really look at it like that either. So
that was actually the one enlightening thing about that documentary, because I had never, like, for me, it's like just sign out,
Yeah, but like
but then to see it, like how it worked, like she just posted a photo and then they were commenting. It's like, oh yeah, that would mess up your psyche.
Yeah.
And like her parents don't even really understand social media.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
that's the other thing. Yeah.
Right. So like, they're just like, why can't you get off your phone?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yeah, but we love being on our phone, and it like, I feel like
like, I don't know, like, okay, like when we say phone, are we talking like, it's mainly they're talking about the apps that
the
are
apps,
causing
not
these
really the phone.
situations.
Yeah, not the phone. The apps,
Like,
it's the apps.
yeah.
Social media apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I know like Apple does a lot of things to protect, but again the parents need to know how to use the device.
Yeah, totally.
That could like
screen
limit their screen time, or only use a certain app, or like watching only certain videos for a certain amount of hours. They can't leave that. Like there are a lot of like boundaries you can put on it when you like lend your iPad to your kid and stuff, right? So again, like that's why Apple does lessons, right? They do lessons.
True. Yeah.
In the store. I don't know now with the COVID stuff, but that's what it was before. So
I think you and I grew up in like a really like very special sweet spot of like having no technology and no apps to like having technology and apps.
Yeah.
So it's like we understand. We're not like our parents where we totally don't understand how it works, but we know the advantages of like having it and not having it.
Yeah.
And like, remember when they took away his phone and then he was in his bedroom and he didn't know what to do? And my initial thought was, why don't you just play outside or play with your friends or go online, play some video games, like do something else, man. Like they make it seem like he's like totally addicted to his phone.
Yeah.
He might be addicted to his phone, but it's like, that's a new generation thing, like the Gen Z.
That's the thing, like about. Exactly, because we've had the experience of both, so we know what to do without a phone.
Yeah,
right.
But
and
like people don't. And it's like, but that was weird because like when we watched the doc, we were like, this doesn't link up for us.
Yeah,
because we were like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah,
But I get what they're painting, like it's a Gen Z problem. Like in the future, people who grew up with these apps, these social media apps, and like how are they going to take it in the future?
I feel like Apple has, like, again, I do like Apple, right? I guess maybe that's the biased thing about me. But they are trying to do things that are like, oh, like look how many hours you're on the phone.
Right.
Like they give you these updates every weekly. So it's like, does it haunt you that, oh, you spend 8 hours a day just looking at social media, or
right?
Like these are the things. Maybe they do change you, and you end up using it less. I don't know. Like, what are the results of that? But
true. Yeah. Like knowledge is key.
Yeah.
It's like
when you actually look at the whole picture of it.
Yeah.
Versus like you don't realize, like when you're in it, you don't realize how many minutes or hours you're spending on it. But in a whole week, you spend like 10 hours or 20 hours on it. without realizing that that's how much time you wasted. But I don't know.
But that's not. See, I don't. Okay, so it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So it's like it really comes back to who are you following.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like if you spent 10 hours like looking at your friends' stuff, you know, like I don't know what that's like to like be a Gen Z and then you're following everyone from your class and then like everyone they like,
because it's not just one account now, right? There's TikTok, there's Snapchat, there's I don't know if they're using Snapchat anymore, but there's Instagram and Twitch. Like there's so many different things that you can spend time in.
But like you can but like if you spend like 10 hours, like what are you looking at for 10 hours?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like if you're watching your classmates like live their life and then you build FOMO, it's like that's not good.
Yeah.
But why not just follow like important things, like educational things, or like, you know what I mean? Like if you spend 10 hours
to understand that though.
No, that's what I mean. It's like, but that's you're right though. They are too young. But like the primary differentiation is like, what are you looking at for 10 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Cause like you and I learn through like the internet.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as a 10-hour waste. I see it as like, that's enriching my mind.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I was already, exactly. Like with me, I'm still doing the same thing, which is like watching movies. Like this is what I'm mainly learning from anyways. So that's just, but that's the thing that I grew up with, right? So.
Right. Totally. Cause you, as it was coming up, it's like, what do I want to take from this?
Yeah.
And like disregard the bad. But like, if you're born into it, like what he said, like if you're born into the Matrix, how do you know to escape the Matrix?
Mm-hmm.
Cause like, but he's right, because like, you know, kids with parents who put them on like social media, like right from the jump, you're already online.
Yeah. I think, I hope that nobody gets the wrong message, like what because they're not saying technology is bad. There are issues with it, but it's not a bad.
Yeah, no.
Overall. Because there's a lot of great things that I do. Apple Pay a lot. That's only can be done on these sort of technologies.
And I feel like some people were extremists there. Like remember the guy with the dreadlocks,
mm-hmm.
and I was like making fun of him a little bit, but like he was all about like getting people to unsub from their social media accounts. But it's like, but that's an extreme in itself. Overly using the tech and not using it at all. Yeah. You're like, you're both extremes. Like you need the middle path.
I think what you should be more pushing for is some sort of legislative things.
Regulation.
Regulations and things. That's the only way that it would go. Because by telling people to do something, they're not going to do it. That's not the way things work.
But again, like it goes back to the pecking order thing, like herd mentality. Like when I was saying like totem poles, right? There are people
mm-hmm.
at the top of the thing. So the people setting the legislation, they're at the top.
Yeah.
You know, we're just like consumers moving around. We're kind of like it's almost like we're like a ball. Like do you remember like that game where like you're going through the maze and like there's a ball, but then you're like bumping into the walls.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the little maze ball game. It's like handheld.
I think so.
Okay, so it's sort of like society is the walls and we're just bumping through to make it to the very end,
mm-hmm,
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like that is an allegory for like we're not in control, even though we like to present ourselves as being in control.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important to acknowledge that you're not in control unless you're one of these key decision makers.
Yeah.
You know, like these policy makers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how everything worked, though, even from before. It's always...
Yeah, it's not new.
It's not a new thing. Like, okay, like we were building structures before, right?
The people who made the pyramids.
Yeah.
Somebody called the shot to make the pyramids.
Yeah.
Then,
no. I want to talk about... I'm talking about regulation.
Oh, regulation.
Like, before, there wasn't, like, building code regulations for how to build a building, right?
Right, okay, true.
Maybe a couple of things went bad, and, like, oh, we got to look at this. This is what's happening now. Like, okay, there's a couple of things bad.
Actually, I have a more, like, a tangible example. Cars. When they went from the horse to the car, people had no seatbelts. Yeah. There was no speed limit.
There was not even a wiper, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I saw a movie about the person that invented that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So like, then slowly through iterations, like, but like I know I said this when we were watching the doc, and I'm gonna say it now, but it's not gonna be a popular opinion. But deaths, like the more people that die from it, the more you're gonna speed up regulation.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
Really with everything. Yeah, you realize like, oh wait, we don't. We can stop deaths from this sort of things from happening. So let's do some ways to mitigate that.
Yeah,
right?
totally. So going the car route, it's like people used to drink and drive and they wouldn't wear seatbelts.
Yeah.
And then they introduced no drinking and driving and wearing seatbelts.
Yeah.
So a lot of people died. So now putting that as an analogy for social media, a lot of cyberbullying, a lot of suicides, people are going to start putting regulation on social media because they're like, we need to stop these kids from killing themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Generally, it's always the push from the public.
Yeah.
Also,
Totally. But see,
but this is how it happens.
But again, it's like, so then if you hear, oh, it's the public, and then you're thinking, oh, so we have power. It's like, yeah, we have power collectively, but individually we don't have power. So I don't want to mistake it like when you said like, oh, it's the public. So then whoever's listening to this, they're like, see, I do have the power. Like I'm not.
Well,
nobody.
I mean, what I'm saying was like for the drunk driving thing was mainly because of Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So there's coalitions.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and like it was funny.
But they were working with. They would know what kind of legislation to do because they were working together. Like you know what I mean? Like
totally. Yeah.
What do we want to try to pass here? Like
yeah,
like, what are we trying to stop here?
Totally.
Right?
So, it's funny. Like I'm reminded of this story. Like because I've worked in like semi-political spheres, and like this one person was like, oh, I should email my MPP. Who's the person like within your region?
I guess MPP. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like in local government.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Someone in local government.
So it's called MPP.
I guess so.
All right.
I don't know.
It's funny because I worked in it. I have no idea what this stuff is. So like with the MPP thing, they were like, oh, I really want this bike issue in my neighborhood fixed. So they're like, I'm going to email my MPP.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the MPP didn't like address it. And I was like, yeah, because you're one person though.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you need to have a coalition of people to do it.
So that's the thing we forget, right?
Yes.
So people think, oh, I have power. You do.
Yeah.
If you have the power to sway other people to join you.
Yeah.
You know? But then even at that level, the next tier would be like, what about actually getting it switched? Well, the MPP is the power, not the coalition.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a battle. But like I keep hammering this home, but I think it's important to realize that an individual doesn't really have power. You know, even Martin Luther King, he had a team. Gandhi had a team.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs had a team.
Yeah.
You know, he was able to gather people together to make change. But an individual on their own, they can be a catalyst, but they actually don't have the full power.
Yeah, you still need a group of people.
Yeah.
You can't be done just by
lots of money.
I guess.
I could see people with lots of money.
With lots of money, you're paying other people to do.
That's true. At the end of the day, an individual doesn't have power.
Yeah.
That's not a popular opinion, though. Nobody wants to hear that. You know?
Well, I don't understand, but almost everything is like that.
No. But it's cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is when your imagined reality doesn't match up with the reality. So they imagine they have power, but in reality they don't have power. So the cognitive dissonance is you don't want to believe that you don't have power.
Well, you have to find other people that believe in the same thing that you do, and you work together for that's
true.
That's what
Start
everything
coalitions.
is. That's
That's what unions were too.
That's exactly right.
Right, because they were being treated unfairly, and then they just band together as a union.
Right. Yeah.
Groups have power.
Yeah. Groups have power. Yes.
Yeah, but all right, we're diverging way far from social media. So the algorithm thing. What do you think about the thing they said about recommendations? I disagree with that.
I think I disagree with that.
Actually, my better question is this, because it's related. Do you think the algorithm is a good thing or a bad thing? According to your cookies and what you've searched.
Algorithm? I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing too. Yeah. So I remember when we were studying this was years ago, almost 10 years ago, 12, but when they're first talking about algorithms and online marketing, and I was in that class, I was like, this is amazing, but everyone's like, oh, this is so freaky. But people who watch the documentary, they think it's freaky, how the algorithm just feeds you what you want to see.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but it's feeding me what I want to see.
Yeah, but it's the same thing though, with commercials, watching it on Saturday night on TV, everyone sees the same commercials. They all want the same thing.
That's true too.
I don't see the difference here, right?
Okay, that's true.
Pogs was, I don't know, I'm just thinking of Pogs for some reason. It's they probably saw it on a commercial and because all kids were watching it at the same time.
Right.
And everybody wants the same thing too.
You're totally right. You're totally right. The only difference now being everything's more tailored towards your specific interest, which is better.
I feel that's better.
Why are we like why would we all be fed the same idea of pogs that creates more, it puts the algorithms actually place more power in the hands of consumers.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're only watching one commercial about pogs, what if you don't like pogs? But then everyone's buying pogs, so I got to buy pogs.
Exactly.
But if you're being fed commercials that are specific to your interest, then where's the harm? Now you're just going to get more things that you actually like.
We're showing our age when we talked about pogs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. I really like targeted marketing.
Yeah.
But then they just paint it out to be evil. But what if you made a documentary of like, look at the benefits of targeted marketing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't have known about Squarespace if it wasn't for targeted marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a lot of stuff that I use.
Yeah.
You know, but then other people
I'm looking for great kitchen products.
Yeah,
so I'm hoping for some, like,
you're hoping for
searching
an ad.
that.
Come on,
like,
ad, give me something. Yeah, totally.
Something can pop up that's actually kind of good.
Yeah.
That I'm looking for.
Or even on the baser level, like algorithms for how to. Right? So it's like, how do I set this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the algorithm was terrible, you would never find a video showing you how to set that thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you mean the algorithm is bad? You're looking for something specifically. I think what they don't like is like that they're feeding you the ads.
If they're talking about just like ads, I get it. It's still the same thing though, like watching it on commercial or whatnot. Like when you watch on a commercial, they're also looking at your age demographic, who's watching here, like they also do the same kind of thing. I don't see what the difference exactly is, other than it's more specifically marketed to you.
Totally. But I wonder if like, so if you look at the algorithm for a search engine, right? You type in something and then it will show you things that are relevant to what you typed in.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference? I think what people don't like is, well, I'm initiating the search.
Mm-hmm.
But for ads, it's like you're looking at my history to figure out what to show me.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as a search engine.
Yeah.
You're typing in things. That's why I was like, we're very specific about what we like, the things we follow, because those are the only things I want to see, you know? Because it's like, you got to think of like, being online is like a giant search engine.
Yeah.
Right? Because like whatever you do becomes the term you enter.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
allegorically,
yeah.
not actually literally.
Yeah.
But like it's just doing the work for you.
Yeah.
You know? And also these platforms wouldn't be free if it wasn't for ads.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Exactly. Like
it's so dumb too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? It's like, oh man, all right. It's like, okay, sure.
Well, do you want to pay $10 a month for using Twitter? No, I'm not gonna do that.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? So people like hate on algorithms, but it's like there is YouTube Pro.
Yeah,
you pay for it, no ads.
There again, social media is also very beneficial. Like a lot of like the things. I don't know. Did they talk about like the Egypt riots and stuff?
Swaying politics? Yeah, they did.
It wasn't swaying politics. It was more like
they talked about Myanmar.
Yeah, that they were using Twitter or something to get together. They know where to get together.
Oh, they didn't talk about that, but yeah, that did happen.
They talked about something else, which was used in a different way.
Yeah,
I get that.
Well, actually, you're right.
You can use both ways.
Right. I get what you're saying. So, like in the documentary, they talked about how they used social media, Facebook, to sway the people of Myanmar into like Muslim like hate or something like that, or uprising. I can't remember. But then, so that's the negative side. But the positive side is because the internet was locked down, so the people in Egypt used Twitter to communicate and then collectively band together to protest. So it's like, which way do you want to use it? Like, there's good and bad. You got to take good and bad.
I also don't know if that necessarily is Facebook's fault for what happened in Myanmar. Maybe that was already there. They're just
it's just a tool.
It's already like that was already there within the people, like thinking, right?
And
like when they were blaming, this politics stuff with Trump winning or something. It's like, no, if you understood what was happening in the country,
yeah, exactly. It was already divided. It was inevitable. Yeah. I agree. I wonder if like also placing so much emphasis on social media is like devaluing human decision making.
Yeah. I also don't think like what is the actual percentage of people that use it like compared to their like it's still small.
It's not like the entire world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big market, but it's not the entire world.
Exactly. Yeah.
but going back to that, like,
Mhm.
what do you think, like, um, about the way they present it, about how bad algorithms are?
Mhm.
Doesn't that just devalue the human's ability to choose? I
Mm.
don't believe in choice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, free will.
But again, that's
Let's just say
that's a
that
different
there's
thing. Yeah.
choice. Like, that's like a higher level of thought. But like, okay, let's just say that people have free will and choice, for the sake of this argument.
Yeah.
So like, that just devalues like people's free will. You know,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, look, Facebook, the algorithms are messing with you. It's like, okay, you're saying that as if I couldn't just shut it off, or you're saying that as if I couldn't just like think more critically.
Mhm.
So really, what the documentary showed me is not how evil the algorithms are, but how stupid people are.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like you're actually just shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're trying to present us with like anti-social media, but it's really more an outlook on how easily swayed we are as a
Yeah.
human species.
Yeah.
That's the real issue.
Yeah.
There's no self-governance.
Yeah. No, I mean that was always the thing. I got like, and my parents talked about some video. It's like, okay, I may not have agreed with it, but it's like you've watched more of that video. Like they've watched something multiple times, or like different
Yeah.
person talking in different videos. Like you'll get convinced like that, but I always like, no, what's the other perspective?
Yeah.
Like I was
totally.
always like, I can't totally believe what I see. I need to know other things, like opposite ends to the story here,
Right. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
know
Totally.
what is really true. So I don't know. Maybe that was always somehow ingrained in me. Like I don't know. I guess a lot of people don't do that. Like people have to really do think more critical,
Yeah.
and that's the only way to get past these sort of things. Like the algorithm is not an issue in that way.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I think it's also like life experience too, because I think
Yeah, I guess
by
so.
like trial and error, you're going to realize something. Because like thinking back to like how dedicated I was to yoga martial arts back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still write for like Shut Up and Yoga and stuff, but like I'm talking about like my like blind belief that this would change the world.
Mhm.
And you were always like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because I was in the vacuum, right?
Yeah.
But like,
But you had someone that wasn't. So this is what helps.
helped me realize it.
Yeah.
I like got out of it. I
And
was
if
like,
you-
wait, this is kind of messed
Yeah,
up,
and
actually.
then exactly. And if you didn't like a lot of what happens generally, I guess they would only hang out with people that agree with you.
Yes,
That's the problem.
So maybe there is something to it. Maybe there is no social governance.
Mhm.
Maybe we are stupid, because I mean I fell for it.
Mhm.
But like you need, but that's like life experience. Like over time, then I was like, well, this is kind of stupid.
Mhm.
You know, like
Yeah, because I didn't really do anything. I just said like through time you'll figure this out. Like
yeah, totally, yeah. You just presented like the opposite like opinion
perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also that is also what we did when we were in elementary school, when I was like in Catholicism and I was so into it. Well, I wasn't so into it, but like the school was, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then they're talking about hell, and I was like, well, how can Vishal go to hell? That's
You're
weird.
already thinking critically, so
Oh, okay. So you think it's in us? To
yeah,
like,
I think it's in us to always question these
certain
sort of
people
things.
though. I think there's some people that
Of
don't
course,
think
probably
critically.
not. But again, yeah, it's
So maybe that's what the documentary is trying to talk about. It's talking about stupid people, bro.
I go. I don't want to say.
The real lesson of the documentary was not about algorithms and how bad social media is. It's about how stupid people easily get swayed by social media.
Yeah.
For real though,
I know,
for
it's
real.
true.
Like
Yeah,
thinking about, because
yeah.
you were like, because you just said like, yeah, but you had the capacity to think critically even from a young age.
But that
And
was
then,
through
like-
your experience. Like you knew someone that wasn't.
No, totally,
If you only knew people of the same
Yeah.
race, same culture, whatever, how are you going to question it? How do you
You
know
won't-
what is
you won't
something
question it.
different?
You won't
Exactly,
question it.
yeah, exactly.
Dude, all right, so this is so trippy. So I wrote this article about like it's not going to come out yet. Soon, it's like a book review for Shut Up in Yoga, and like they're talking about racism. And then I was reading the book that they suggested, and I'm like, yeah, but this person, the writer, isn't taking into account like, what if your entire like friendship, family base is all racist? Then how are you supposed to elevate beyond that? Because all you know is racism.
Because that's the only thing that you know,
Because
right?
that's the only thing you know.
Yeah.
So it's like I was saying, you need to educate yourself, like bring yourself outside of your circle. You need to build so many experiences,
Mhm.
like live a robust life in order to think critically.
Yeah.
But like, I think people don't realize that the issue isn't like racism itself. It's ignorance.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, that really is what it is.
Mhm.
Like those cop killers, like I don't know why. I mean, not cop killers. Those killers, those cops who killed.
Oh, okay.
Right, no, not cop killers. Like those cops who killed. Like we don't know their life experience. Like maybe they were inborn with hate for specific reasons. Like there's so many facets to a human being that to pin it on one thing is also ignorant in itself.
Yeah.
But again, that's looking at both sides of the coin. It's like, yeah, they did those bad things, but why did they do them? But nobody wants to look at the why, because maybe they themselves aren't thinking critically, Yeah. But going back to it, like the documentary, like a kid doesn't have that level of critical thinking, like world experience necessary.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that I did agree with them on.
Like, I did too. Yeah.
Like that was, maybe there should be an age limit to these sort of things.
Well, there is, but kids like just lie.
Yeah, I know. Our parents should know better, right? Like that's totally, the other thing. So, I do agree with that kind of thing. Maybe adding again, that's the regulations towards kids.
I totally agree. I agree. That's one thing that I also walked away with. Like, yes, that's an important point. Regulation for kids, because they don't have the capacity to be like, I can just shut this off. Yeah. Like to them, it's their entire world. Yeah, Yeah.
Because everyone, their friends are there. Everyone's on it, so it's like you're gonna have to have it too, right? But if there's a regulation for everyone, then that's how these sort of things
totally
can be changed.
I like thinking back to when you're a kid. Remember, like in elementary school, your entire world bubble was your school, right? And then high school, your entire world bubble became high school, but it grew a little bit because you still knew people from elementary school. And then you go to university, it grows even more. And then now you're in the open world, and it's like, okay, my bubble's like really big, but if you're feeding information to somebody whose bubble is really small, of course they're going to be confused and have these issues. Yeah. Like if they're like, oh, this kid made fun of me in school, it's like you can't just leave that person because they're a part of your bubble. You're in school with them, so they are your whole world. Yeah. But like if like somebody said that right now as an adult, you'd be like, okay, I'll just not hang out with you. Yeah, exactly. The world's big. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I think there totally should be regulation for kids. Like you should not use social media so young. Because it makes no sense. You wouldn't even know what to use it for. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That one, I would say that's the biggest thing that I agree with them on. That's other things kind of question it, the politics stuff, I don't necessarily agree. It may have had some influence, but it was already there, I feel like. So
I wonder if like now looking at this like negatively now, this could also mess up other people who've never thought of this and they watch it and they're like, oh my God, it's so evil.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I think message is gonna be like what's gonna get out is like technology is bad.
Yeah, but it's like no, it's not.
Exactly. But I think that's the main thing that's gonna be spreading.
True.
Because people are not thinking critically.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I also think that like more like polarizing things are more popular because so like and I've noticed it with this, but then like I was writing a different article and then I wrote in there like in the article like I'm trying to be objective, and then like my editor crossed it out and was like, we're not looking for objectivity, we're looking for opinions. And I was like, well, that's not good. Yeah. Because like, then how can I measure both sides? Exactly. Because objectivity is about measuring both sides. Yeah. But also they're right.
As long as you say, in my opinion, maybe that might be helpful a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. But even with that small example, it makes you think like, yeah, all entertainment sources are looking for polarization because they're looking to like.
But they want their audience, right? Yeah. They want to only feed that audience. They don't want to.
Nobody wants both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's something you need to do yourself. Like.
Yeah, I know. Which is like, that's kind of freaky as well.
But that's a business, like, this is the message we want to send, right? Like, I get it. Yeah, true. But everyone has their right to do that, right?
You're right.
There's freedom of speech in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only thing I don't want to come out of this is some sort of like way to regulate internet like that. You can't do that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. That is an important point because we did try to do that societally, before, like create regulations, but like
huge backlash against that.
Yeah, there's a huge do you remember what it was called? Bill C-14.
I don't remember like the exact
name. It
was
a huge thing, right? So like in back, I think it was like 3 years ago, something like that. They were trying to like police the internet, but if you police it, then the question becomes who polices it. And then the fear was then the government will just push their agenda, because then they'll just, so what it would do, the way it would work is for sites that the government didn't agree with, they would slow down.
Right.
Yeah. And then like for ones that they're okay with, they'll keep the speed. So it's like you won't be able to look at sites that like are against the overall agenda. Yeah. But that's really bad too. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants that. It's a fine balance trying to figure out what the regulation should be, you know, because people hate it. People love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, final thoughts. Do you think the documentary was good? I think it was well made.
I think
visually it was
awesome.
I
was about to say that. Yeah,
Netflix puts out amazing. Oh no, I remember what I was gonna say. It's ironic. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought about when we were watching it. It's like, well, we're watching what they recommended.
Yeah. We're doing this because the person was like, oh, don't click on the YouTube recommendations. Like, have free will and choice over your like. Okay, sure, but then we're watching the documentary right now because it realized, hey, you guys might like this.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Exactly.
But we did like it.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it worked in our favor.
Yeah.
So when it works, people love to glorify it. But when it doesn't work, people love to vilify it.
Yeah.
That, right?
Yeah.
That's also like politics too. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, look at all the great things that, this is like, interesting example, but like people are like, oh, Obama was like the greatest president, but he killed a lot of people. But we ignore that.
We totally ignored that
because I mean he didn't literally not literally him, but like he actioned things that killed people.
Yeah. Hopefully that's understood.
Yeah. Okay. Like, you know, so it's like, again, you gotta take the good and bad. It's like he was an amazing president, but he did do these things.
Yeah.
But everyone's like ignore, like you get a lot of like left and right.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like people that love him will be like, oh, he did all these amazing things, but then people who hate him will be like, but he killed all these people. But why not just be centrist about it and be like, yeah, he did a lot of great things and he killed people. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know? What do you call that? It's like centrist?
It's a centrist like position,
philosophy?
I guess.
I would say that's what I am. Yes, I'd say you're that too. Like, because like
I'm more centrist, but also very
liberal,
a little bit of a lefty. Because I see the benefits of these sort of things.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I know,
of course. Yeah.
But I know, like critically, like people do not agree. Like percentage, like I look at the percentage wise, it's like, well, they don't agree with me. But exactly, that's why it's not going to go exactly that direction.
Yeah, but then it goes back to herd mentality.
Yeah,
it's like the people at the top are just calling the shots, and they're just moving society in a specific way. It really is just herd mentality, you know. And then the people that have woken up from the herd mentality just realize, oh, it's all herd mentality. You know, like they're just accepting the fact that we are being pushed in a specific way. Although a lot of the enlightened people, they from ancient times, they left society and lived in caves because they're like, I don't want to be a part of this. Which is kind of like what we have now.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have people who live off the grid. Ironically, just like the documentary, they still need to bring in water. They love Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
They love plastics. So that's not really off the grid. Did you have a knife? Where did the knife get purchased from?
Yeah. That's again, not everyone's going to agree with living off the grid also, right? So it's that's not majority of the people. Yeah. They will not do that. Right? I don't know how much, you won't have an influence enough. But you'll probably have a group of people that do agree with you. Which is fine.
Do you believe world peace is possible?
I think we talked about this before.
No, I know. I'm bringing him up for a specific reason. No. So at the beginning of COVID, I believed it was possible because I started seeing things that I was like, wow, we could actually collectively work together.
I think we talked about that, yeah.
You know, and I wrote an article about it. And then I realized like as COVID progressed, it's like no,
It
didn't work.
No, it
The
actually
enemy of my enemy is not, because like the big argument is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So like you and I are warring, but we have a bigger enemy, which is COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happened? People were like, "This is fake." Blah, blah, blah.
It did. Where I would say where it is, where they are working together, it was probably more like working on a vaccine. Like this is something that the world is working on together.
But that's not world peace.
No,
You're
but
right.
what I'm saying is like this is where you would, coincide and these sort of things. But it is also still very country based. It's
Right,
like we want
yeah.
to take care of our people
Yeah.
first.
Totally.
But that's how everything should be.
So I wonder. That's very true, actually. Like, didn't Trump like buy a bunch of vaccines, but said nobody?
Yeah, he
could get
bought
them?
like remdesivir or something.
So
like
nobody could get
a
them,
couple,
right? Yeah.
a huge stockpile, like 2 months, no other country could get it.
Yeah.
It's
So,
like-
so there you go.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that idea of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It only lasts for a second. Like it only lasts like 2 days, and then people were like, "What about my people?" You know, because like so like let's say alien invasion happened. We're like, well, the whole world will band together against the alien invasion. Maybe.
Or someone is going to go try to,
Join the aliens.
Why don't we join? I can help you get other people out of the way.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly.
yeah. But that's what happened in slavery time too, though.
What do you mean?
They worked with other black communities to get other black people.
Oh yeah,
for
yeah,
slaves.
yeah. The house slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say the actual term, but it's like all
I'm
house
saying
slaves.
like when they were shipping them in.
Yeah, no, I know
They
what
would
you're
they
talking
would
about.
they would
Yeah.
help. They would get local help against other tribes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But that's probably might happen too. Yeah, like
That's
we would.
Probably what would happen.
Yeah, like make a deal. We'll take out some other countries for you.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like not everyone's gonna want to play the same game, like because we all think differently.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like we're all supposed to hate Russia, Iran. Like this is the modern Western world's thinking that they're trying to tell us. So it's like
You know what's weird though about that? Like that was Babylonian time. Like so, Babylonia was like the greatest empire back in the day. But that's where like Iraq is, and like all the Middle Eastern war. It's just interesting to see that like now, like back in the day, it would have been like the epicenter of like world innovation, and now it's like we vilify that place so badly, you know. So it's just a side note.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would totally get people to
Why not? Yeah.
like, hey aliens, I'll help you out. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't think it's possible. I mean but I think Nietzsche had it correct at the end. Like he was the pioneer of nihilism. Everything you do will be like it has no meaning at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, but extrapolating that more metaphorically, he was more of like a negative, like his outlook was very negative. But like really like the truths of the world are negative. We are a herd. We are going to fight one another to the very end. And like these aren't, well, I guess they're only negative if you view it like that.
Yeah.
But like these are the realities of the situation. Yeah.
I don't know. When I know it's just like evolutionary thing, like maybe
It's like it just happened throughout time. Like and people who disagree with it, if you're listening to this and you're like, "Oh, I totally disagree with you. People are altruistic." Well, where's your evidence? Because we have billions of years, not billions. How long have humans been here? 150,000 years,
something like that.
Yeah,
200,
right.
200 to 300 maybe.
All right, 203. We have 300,000 years of evidence that they're not altruistic.
Yeah, we do end up creating our own groups. We do fight.
In-group,
The
out-group
wars always
economics.
existed, still exist today. So
Yeah.
it's never ended.
You know, I think that's where what really started to make me turn around for yoga martial arts, when I was like super into it and I believed in like peace and altruism.
Yeah.
And then starting to like really think about it, reading books about it, I'm like, no, historically we aren't altruistic. Like actually looking at science, it's like, no, we are a species that's divided.
Yeah. But but also today is the best time where we have the least amount of like.
But people don't think about that.
See, that's the thing. We are at the least amount of destruction of like this time.
Yeah.
Is where we're at the
Like,
we're much better off today than we were
totally.
like 100 years ago. Or
like COVID would have just been a small drop in the pond back in the day. They'd have been like, oh, a virus, whatever. Like they had plagues like all the time. You know, like it isn't just the Spanish flu that was prior to COVID. Remember, like there was the bubonic plague and like the stuff that's spread by rats and like
that wiped out a lot of Europe.
Leprosy was a big thing. I remember it was in the Bible when I was reading, like they would push the lepers out, not because they hated them, but because like you're gonna contaminate the rest of the freaking group, bro. So we've always had viruses, but like now we have vaccines. You know, this is really not a negative time in history. I'd say the Enlightenment, the realization is negative. Well, all right, there's no good and bad, but the realization can hurt.
Yeah.
Because when you realize it, you're like, ooh, like it's reality is a bitter pill to swallow, right? But then like also look at the positives in this world, you know. We have freaking numbing agents now. Before like obviously I got to bring that up, you know, but like before they didn't have anesthesia. So it's like during World War times they would just cut your like bones off, you know? And you'd have
just
to
give
suck
some
up the
alcohol
pain.
and all.
Alcohol, dude. Yeah, that really was it. Like get a little drunk, cut it off.
Yeah, but this happened even like less than 100 years ago during wartime, right?
Yeah,
so
it was World War II. It's like it was crazy to think about. So I was watching the Ronin character from this is a side note, but now we're talking about war. The Ronin character for Call of Duty. And then he was saying that the army will give you whatever you need in order to complete your mission. So they used to, so he was like, it was standard procedure. So like, it's weird because you never think about these things. Again, reality of the situation. So the army, he would stay up 72 hours. His shift would be 72 hours. So it would be common practice to give you Adderall. And then when you're coming off the shift, you can't sleep because you have a lot of stress. So they would give you Ambience. And then because there's a lot of chronic pain, because like you're always running, whatever, they give you opiates. And then when he left the army, all those drugs were gone. So he's like, I had a really hard time regulating myself because I was going from like Adderall to opiates to Ambience, you know, to like regulate whatever it is that I needed in that moment.
Right.
But now I don't have that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But again, technology, we didn't have that before.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to be alive. Yeah. Anyways, so hopefully you ended up listening to this podcast and the social network gods did their job. But yeah. Any final word?
No, I think it's think critically when you're watching it. That's all I can say.
It's true. Yeah, be a centrist in life. I agree. Like look at the polar opposites, come to your own conclusion, but also at the same time realize that your conclusion is not the same as somebody else's conclusion. We're just monkeys running around.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are.
Yeah. Having a fun time doing it, though. Call of Duty, this podcast.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Till next time. Pick up some tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com. Use offer code SOCCERTEES at checkout for 20% off select items. But
if you don't have any money?
Yep. If you don't have any money, if you're not willing to spend the money.
If you're not really sad, remember.
Yeah.
You finish it off.
Check out the free Zenro Radio, zenroclothingco.com. Take it easy, Vish.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.